Obviously, we were made aware last Thursday about the situation regarding Vaughn. Probably the similar time that you guys heard about it. Checked in with his agent, and then obviously with the NFL, and as you probably read or heard, there was multiple versions of what happened, and so there's not a lot that I can say. Vaughn is here; he'll be a part of the team, and we'll let the investigation and we'll follow the lead of the NFL from that standpoint.
Brandon, are you anticipating that the league would put him on the exempt list pending their own investigation? Have you heard anything to the contrary on that?
Right now, Sal, we don't expect anything based on our conversations. Anytime it's an ongoing investigation, if something was uncovered that, the commissioner does have that at any point if he feels there was something that, hey, this doesn't look good, or something like that. If at any point that they could, but with our knowledge of what we have today, we don't expect that.
Brandon, will he be available to play this week?
Yes.
Overall, right now he's guilty of just being in the wrong situation that put himself in. What is the disappointment level when you heard about this last week?
Well, listen, you never want anyone in your organization, no matter what organization you're in, to have an allegation like that. That's a very serious nature and something that, we would definitely, we're going to take every precaution with, and culture and character and all those things are super important. But we also have to remember we have to let the legal process play out. And, the guy that we've known here for a year and a half, that seems out of character.
What have your conversations been like with Vaughn that makes you comfortable having him here and having him play for the team on Sunday?
Well, that's kind of what I just said. The guy that we've known for a year and a half, and who we looked into before we signed him, gives us that. And we unfortunately, we're not investigators, or we weren't present or anything like that. So you just you have to let all that stuff play out, and we'll follow the lead of the NFL.
How much was there a lot of internal consideration to just handing out discipline to him by not having him active this week?
You have to let it play out, I guess, is the best way to say. We don't. If you get into sitting guys or disciplining guys without the right information, that can be a little bit dangerous too.
What was that? What was that last part? I missed that. Without disciplining guys.
Yeah, if you're, we weren't there. We're not the investigators. We don't, obviously, we had our conversations with Vaughn and understood, what he believes happened, and so from that standpoint, we can't get into it. It's an open investigation, and so we'll just, we'll let the legal process play out, and he'll participate like normal in practice.
Brandon, can you quantify the frustration of a 6-6 record at this point? A lot of things have just not really gone your way. Can you maybe give us some thoughts on what the hell's happening here?
Yeah, it's just, it's. I think I'd be here a while just going through it, Sal. We haven't. It's been different things at different times. Whether it's been turnovers, not getting a stop, 10 penalties and a half. Whether they were right or wrong calls, they happened. Those are things that don't allow you to win, and so. The long and short of it is that we haven't gotten done as many times as we needed to, but the good news is we're in the thick of it. We're in the hunt, whatever it is, and if you play your best football in December, in January, you give yourself a chance. And so we're not looking in the rearview mirror. We're looking ahead. I know the bye, gave everybody a chance to rest physically and probably as much mentally. And so hopefully we look fresh and ready to go, this week in Kansas City.
Brandon, just to go back, when you were talking about the exempt list, you said with our knowledge of what we have today, we don't expect anything. So does that mean that you are, what you're getting back from the league, you're relatively confident, I don't want to put words in your mouth, that this is, that, I guess, I'm not sure what the question, but how confident are you from what you're getting from the league that this is not going to be something that, in which Vaughn's going to be charged?
Yeah, I mean, we're in constant communication with them, and they would let us know. But my most recent conversation, that was not anticipated.
Brandon, does it work through the league or through you guys, if any contact with police in Texas?
We have some contacts, but we generally take the league, their lead on this.
What signs of life do you see that this team can get hot?
I'm sorry, what?
What signs of life inside the team do you see that, hey, they can get on a run? And
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, we lost to a really good Philadelphia team last week. I think the last couple of games offensively, we've done some really good things. And less turnovers, we've been, putting points up. That's probably the biggest thing that we weren't doing was whether it was turnovers, whether it was penalties, whatever we were stalling out. The last two games we've been over 30 points. That'll win you a decent amount of games. So that right there gives me hope. Hopefully we're getting guys, back healthier. You're never going to be 100% healthy, but healthier, and you just have to, find that rhythm and get on a roll. And we got a 5-game season to see what we can make of it.
Brandon, how would you explain the difference between how the team handled Matt Ariza, which was a civil case with no arrest, no mugshot, no police investigation that was going on, versus a guy who's been arrested?
Yeah.
With actual police documentation, 911 call, everything that is out there that everybody can hear and see for themselves.
Yeah, I get the question, Tim. It's every situation is its own, and that's probably as far as I could go into it. Everything has its own set of facts, circumstances, experiences, and I probably couldn't go any further than that.
Brandon, regardless of this legal situation, whatever's gonna happen, do you really think the defense is best served playing Vaughn the way it's gone so far? You're in a crunch now, he really has not given you anything. Is it better served to maybe give someone else a chance?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to try, Sal, I can tell you, every week we're trying to put the best 48 players. That's, doesn't matter what, name it says on your jersey or number. We're trying to put the best 48 out there to win. And yes, that will continue to be evaluated every week. And if we feel that, Vaughn is not one of the best 48 that week or all the weeks, then that's what we'll do. But we're hoping it's around a year now that he's had that surgery, and sometimes, it just takes time. I think you saw that with Trey last year as well. It's hard when in a situation where you have an injured player that misses all the offseason and all of training camp, OTA's training camp, you can't really replicate a training camp. So you're trying to work them back, yet practices are not like training camp practices. And then you're in the games and you're trying to find that number of snaps. He's played less snaps than he's ever played. That's a fine line too, because you also have to be like a basketball shooter. You got to get up enough shots to start feeling your rhythm. And so all those things are into consideration. But, every game we are truly going to try and, we got to win these 5. So we're going to try to put out the best 48 we can.
Brandon,
I
knowing that-
apologize if you answered this off the top, but Vaughn was also investigated in 2021 for something. What are your conversations with him just about this most recent incident, or were they more widespread?
I'm going to keep those conversations with Vaughn, with us. I don't think it's fair to him to kind of divulge what our conversations were, but we're comfortable as we sit here today with him being here and being part of the team.
Brady, can you give us an
Brandon,
idea of how the the operation going forward is as far as your communication with either the legal process, the team, the whatever in Dallas, or the league. Do you call them once in a while, every day? Does someone check in with you, or do you just wait to hear something either way so you don't leave things open-ended?
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly regular. It's not necessarily every day, but he has representatives that sometimes are having conversations with me, or I'm calling them, asking them things. Sometimes the league, but I think it's one of those things. If the league felt like, hey, there's something that needs to change here, they would definitely get on the horn with us and explain what they have or why they would need to change course.
Without presuming guilt or innocence, knowing that the process has to work itself out, what is your level of disappointment just in being the focus of attention right now on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think Vaughn would tell you that no one wants their name associated with any accusation like that. So that's a natural disappointment. I'm sure he's disappointed. As I said earlier, character is very important to us here in Buffalo. I think you've seen that. And, we want everyone to be model citizens and never have their name, in the police blotter. But things happen sometimes. And again, we have to remember people are we have to give them their fair due process. That could happen to anyone in this room. And I would hope we would all wait and let that play out before we rush to judgment.
How do you prepare for any potential public backlash as an organization if he's out there playing while this investigation continues?
Yeah, I mean, you just, that's an unfortunate part of it. You can't control that. You have to understand that the public or us, we only have so many of the facts. And I think if you look around this country, you see plenty of rushes to judgment, and whether it's sports or other things. And so, again, we're not investigators here. We're not qualified to do that. We'll follow the lead of those people and let them do their jobs, and we'll take the information. And you're truly in my seat, or Terry Pagula or Sean McDermott. We're just trying to do the right thing, and you're never going to make 100% people happy. If we went the other way and said he can't play, there'd be people upset about that too. So I wish I could sit here and make everyone happy, but I know that's not reality.
Brandon, have you had conversations with any other players on the team, or like your leadership group? I guess kind of what's the mood of the team since all of this came out, if you could shed any light on that.
Yeah, I would say, Heather, I would rather keep our conversations with the team internal from that standpoint. I think the same thing. Vaughn didn't just walk in here. I think everyone feels that's been around him the last year and a half, whatever it's been since we signed him. If anything of this was true, would be clearly out of character for who they know or who we know.
There have been now 3 accusations against Vaughn, at least that we're aware of some pretty heinous things. How confident are you that your locker room is unanimously behind the decision to have him keep dressing and playing for you guys?
Yeah. Well, you have to remember, Tim, those are accusations. And so ultimately, we're not investigators or things like that. We can't acquiesce to every accusation. We need what we know to be the truth. But Sean and I have many conversations with leaders, players, from top to bottom on the roster, and again, I'm not going to get into what those actual conversations are, but you just, up here, you make the best decisions you can, and you have to live with it.
Is this something that's sort of subject to change, that like conversations are continuing? Like, where does this go from your perspective, like going forward? Like, are there calls throughout the week? Do they continue as the investigation continues? Where does this go from here, from your perspective?
Yeah, it's an open investigation. So I think if things are uncovered, that could always change how you do things. But until more things are uncovered, or it's closed, or there's a judgment on it, then I think we will operate as is.
You mentioned if something potentially changes. Do you feel confident, and I know this might be a hard question to answer, but do you feel confident with the information that you do have right now in making this decision because of the potential impact if you do uncover more details down the line?
What's that now, Matt?
So do you feel like you have enough information at this stage to confidently make this decision, knowing the potential impact it could make in the locker room if there are details that come out later on?
I don't think we have a lot of information other than our conversation with Vaughn and his representatives in the league. Like, other than, the media reports and things like that. So we've not been able to have conversations with people who were on the scene investigating the call and things like that. So, it's very early in the process, and those people in Dallas aren't just going to get on they're not worried about the Buffalo Bills. They're going to do what they do on the timeline that they do it. And again, we'll take the lead of the NFL for how we move forward.
Hey, Brandon, the Shaq Lawson had his run-in with a fan during the Philadelphia game. Has the league closed that, or is they still looking into what happened there?
Yeah, it's still, they're investigating it. Everyone involved in that, from their security to, I believe, fans, to people in our team that witnessed it or kind of saw what happened. But it's, as of late last week, it was still open. I assume it's probably going to be open here for a little bit. It sounded like there was a decent amount of people to talk to.
Is trying to talk to the woman involved in Vaughn's situation something the team has discussed, considered, just to get additional perspective on it?
Yeah, that's, I'm going to keep all that, to ourselves, but we're just going to let, the league and the investigators, the people that's their job to do that, and we'll take the advice, mainly of the NFL on how we move forward.
To that end, Brandon, I guess just to be specific, what is the team's level of involvement from your own security people in this?
Yeah. You try to just piece together what you can, but I don't think, again, I don't think the investigators in Dallas or any other case, go back to some of the other ones that were here, they're not really worried about giving us information, is kind of my experience and our experience with it. So our best course of action has generally been just kind of working through the league and their contacts.
Is there a league protocol for something like this regarding investigations so that way people aren't overlapping?
Yeah, there is. I mean, without going too deeply into it, if you've had a player that's been arrested or something that had an incident, or a staff, anyone, you have to report it to the league, and then there's a policy in place there of, depending on what it is, they obviously, put their people on top of it and then communicate back to us, the course of action or how we go forward, whether it's standard operating procedures or whether, hey, there's enough information here, the commissioner's going to act in some way.
Hey, Brandon, you guys are on the hook for a lot of cap space on Vaughn and potentially dead cap space. If new details come to light that he winds up being guilty, would you have any hesitation in cutting him?
Yeah, I mean, let's just wait and see what happens there from that standpoint. But I think us, we're going to try to do things right. Thank you.